All right, so we're going to start with the screenplay. Recording pending, just go. There we go. All right, so we're going to start with the screenplay, and there's nothing on the screenplay that really connotes that it's going to be a split screen effect. You're just kind of writing the screen as it happens, or the scene as it happens. Now, because I'm playing both parts, I'm playing the guy in the Sharks beanie and the guy in the A's beanie, I kind of need to memorize all of these lines. A's beanie is going to stand waiting for the guy in the Sharks beanie, and the Sharks beanie walks and says, "Sup, bro?" Then A's beanie says, "Hey, man, looking good." Sharks beanie says, "You're not looking bad either. Nice beanie." And A's guy says, "Thanks. It's a new one." I have to memorize all these lines because if I'm playing the Sharks character, I need to come in and say, "Sup, bro?" And then I have to pause. I have to know how long to pause for. I can't just say, "Sup, bro? You're not looking bad either," right? I have to pause. So I have to come in. If I'm playing a Sharks character, I say, "Sup, bro? You're not looking bad either. Nice beanie." And then the scene ends. And if I'm playing the A's character, when I hear action, I have to pause. "Hey, man, looking good. Thanks. It's a new one." And so this is honestly probably the hardest part of doing the split screen effect is as an actor knowing that you're playing both parts and pausing and leaving enough time so that your counterpart, who's not on, there's not really two of you, so your counterpart has enough time to deliver their lines. And I'm betting that that is where most of the errors that we're going to find are going to come from, is going to be that when you are speaking with yourself, you're not going to leave enough time for your responses, and you're going to have your characters end up kind of speaking over one another. So really be cognizant of kind of slowing down and pausing. And this is why what I do is I say, "Sup, bro?" And then in my head, I since I know all the lines, I can say, "Sup, bro?" And then in my head, I say, "Hey, man, looking good." And then in my mouth, I say, "You're not looking bad either. Nice beanie." And then in my head, I say, "Thanks. It's a new one." Right? So that I kind of get that timing down. All right. So once you've written the scene for your clone, for your double, then you can storyboard it. And the key is, again, since this is the goal is to make this appear that it's one shot, that it's right, it's not two shots. We're going to call it shot one, and we're going to call it like A and B. So on our slate, we'll have shot 1A and shot 1B because we're going to smash them together, and we're going to make it appear that they are one shot. So I just have medium shot. I like to put the little dashed line like you saw in the video where the split occurs. I wonder if I can flip this again so that it's actually like readable, because I think it looks mirrored to you guys. There we go. Um, anyway, right, and you saw that some of the splits in the video we watched are not straight lines. Some of them are kind of jig jags or straight and then cuts over. You can do that in Premiere with a custom shape. In Rush, you can only work in straight horizontal or vertical lines. So if you are working on Rush, make sure that you design your scene in such a way that a straight line will achieve the effect that you want, and you don't have to do anything too crazy. So I just did with a simple straight line scene here. All right, let's take a look at my raw footage here. I think it's this one.
Rolling.
Yep.
This is
There it is. All right, get it big. Boop. All right, so here we are with my slate. Scene 1A, take one.
shot 1A, take one.
See, I'm right now. I'm looking at the script. I have it right here on the table because I have to know. I'm making sure I know all four lines, even though the guy in the A's beanie is only delivering two. I have to make sure that I pause enough for the lines delivered by my other character.
Action. Oh, hey, man. Looking good. Thanks. It's a new one.
All right, there we go. So I paused. Pretty good. Not bad. All right, let's take a look at shot 1B.
Rolling. This is shot 1B, take one. Action. Sup, bro? You're not looking too bad either. Nice beanie.
High five, an ill-fated high five, as you'll see. The other thing that I did here is I put some little pencils on the ground, kind of in between my feet, like a line, so that my feet kind of go on either side of the pencil, so that I get my kind of angle correct, and that way my sight lines look right, and I'm kind of looking in the right space. But you see again that I come in and I speak, and then I pause.
Action. Sup, bro? You're not looking too bad either. Nice beanie.
Right. Okay. So the things you have to think about in production is it's got to be on a tripod. It doesn't work if it's not on a tripod, and you can't move it between the shots. Right. Even though I'm doing shot 1A and shot 1B, like I locked my tripod down and I touched that record button on my phone so gently. I did not want to bump that phone at all. It's got to be the same angle. You
Okay.
can see, you know, the pictures and the little TV in the corner are at exactly the same space between shot 1A and
Rolling.
1B, because I had my camera on a tripod and I locked it down. I put markers on the ground so that my characters would kind of be in a good space. I actually shot this with the camera with the screen facing me so that I could see. I didn't want to. You could get, a helper to stand in so that you can get the framing right. But honestly, for practice, like I would just flip your phone around and use the front facing camera, and it makes it so much easier to see yourself. Or if you have a DSLR, that's the beauty of a big DSLR, is that it's got the flip out screen. Then you can flip around and point the screen at yourself, and you can see kind of where you need to be, and put a marker on the ground to help yourself out. All right, so I've got my footage. Let's get into Premiere, start chopping it up. So here is shot A right here, and I got my in and out. I'm going to pull that down. And here is shot B, and I'm going to pull that down. Now, what I'm going to do, let's make it a little bigger here, is the first thing I got to do is I got to kind of pull up shot B and pull down its audio, because we have to stack these things. They need to play at the exact same time. So if I play it right now, you'll hear me kind of speaking over myself. Oh, it's got one. Let me unmute that. Right. So the first thing I have to do is I have to kind of get the audio to line up. I'm not even going to worry about visual effects. I'm just looking at the spikes, and I know they need to alternate. One person needs to speak, and then the other person needs to speak. So if we zoom in here, you can see speaking on the bottom layer, and then there's speaking on the top layer, and then speaking on the bottom layer. So now if I just listen to this, it'll sound correct. Right, so then that needs to expand out. Perfect. So now that my audio sounds good and my clips are the same length, we're ready to actually add the effect here. And the effect that we're looking for is called crop, C-R-O-P, crop. I'm going to grab crop, and I'm going to apply that to the top layer, always to the top layer. If you apply it to the bottom layer, nothing's going to happen. And then when I apply crop and I go to effect controls, and I'm going to slide in from the right. So I grab right and I pull that over, and you see that as I pull it over, I can start to reveal my other character, and I'm going to feather the edge. That line is not so apparent from the shadow. And then when we roll it, we should have a nice looking effect. All right, I had my character go for the high five so I could intentionally break the effect here. And you can see what happens when your characters reach over that middle line. So you need to, as a director, or an actor, be very cognizant of where that middle line is, and not break that line. Otherwise, the effect kind of dies. Same thing, if you move your camera between takes, the effect will die also. It will not work. The only reason this, and you see my hand touches it just ever so slightly right there. So maybe if I pull this crop just a shade right there. There we go. go. So I've got my kind of double version of myself here. And it works pretty good. And basically, you know, it's not anything too tricky. Basically, what we're doing is, right, I've got this shot of this guy and I got this shot of this guy, and I'm just kind of removing half of the footage, right? I'm doing that with crop, and that way it looks like there's two of them. In fact, if I go back to Premiere and I hide the underneath layer, you can see that the top layer is only like half a video. The bottom layer is just regular, straight up. I haven't done anything. The bottom layer, it's regular. The top layer is the one that I have added half myself to. In fact, I did a example of this for someone. They were wondering about this, and I did one of me in the bathroom, and because you can do this with a mirror, like you saw in the Black Swan example. You can take. I'm not even going to worry about the audio. I just kind of want to see the second version of myself. Oops. Right, and then if I just put the crop effect on here, and then slide that crop over. Right, there you go. I've got kind of two versions of myself in a mirror, and you can do some really creepy, scary stuff with that too. All right, let's do the same thing, but let's do it on a phone now. So it's pretty simple. I was actually very pleased with how easy it is to do on the phone. So step one, obviously, is to clean up your footage and get rid of that action and cut call. Let's see here. I think right about here.
Oh, hey, man. Looking good.
There we go. And then this one here is going to be when, oh, it's not showing me the clip I need. Of course not, it's going to fight me. Let's grab it again. 1B, add. There we go. Yeah, that's what I want. I want it to update. There we go. So right when he walks in, that's the beginning. And we're going to slap that piece up on the second layer. And we're going to slide it on over. And again, we're going to look at the sounds and make sure that the characters are kind of speaking in turn, right? One character speaks and then the other character speaks. So I think what we need is we need this one to be just a little bit longer here. There we go. So then when we roll it, it should sound correct.
What's up, bro? Oh, hey, man. Looking good. You're not looking too bad either. Nice beanie. Thanks. It's a new one.
There we go. And then we're just going to use the transform button on the top layer. So as long as the top layer is highlighted and I click transform at the bottom, you'll see crop. I'm going to use crop right and slide that over. There we go. And that way when we roll it, it should be good.
What's up, bro? Oh, hey, man. Looking good. You're not looking too bad either. Nice beanie. Thanks. It's a new one.
You can't soften the edge in Rush. I just saw, oh, edge feather. I was all happy, but it actually feathers like every edge. And so that's not exactly, it feathers every edge except for the edge I want it to feather. So that's not going to help. So be very cognizant and very aware of your middle line if you are editing in Rush. You know, and don't let your actors touch it or try and go for a high five or anything like that. But that works pretty well.
What's up, bro? Oh, hey, man. Looking good. You're not looking too bad either.
To have a nice little double there. All right, let's do the next one. So the next effect is very, very similar. But instead of using a double, we can use a second person or an object. And we're going to use what's called a hero plate and a clean plate. So I know I'm actually using superheroes for this, but that's not the reason it's called a hero plate. Heroes like the winner. So here we are. We're interior of the Lego Avengers. It's daytime. Iron Man stands above Spider-Man lying down. Spider-Man says, Mr. Stark, I don't feel so good. Iron Man says, you're going to be okay. Spider-Man says, I don't want to go. And Spider-Man fades away. So what we're going to do for this one, and I actually drew it super giant to make life easy on us, is I guess this is a wide shot. And I've got a shot you'll see of Lego Iron Man standing above Lego Spider-Man who's lying on a bed. And I will pull that up for you now.
Stand by, roll it. This is scene 2, take 1.
And again, you see that I have my shot on a tripod. It's going to be perfectly still.
Action. Mr. Stark, I don't feel so good. You're all right. I don't want to go.
All right, and so then here at the end of the shot, what I do, so this is my hero plate, the shot with the characters in it. And then at the end, I keep rolling and very carefully, I get the clean plate. So I'm going to let this roll for another about 8 seconds of just the clean, empty space, nothing moving, tripod still, just rolling on the clean plate. So I have my hero plate with my characters in it, and I have my clean plate, and it's very similar to a pop cut, right? If I do this, it looks like a pop cut. But what I'm going to do is when I get into Premiere here, and I grab Spider-Man here. Let's see, here he is, Tony. Oops, and Spider-Man. Probably right about there. Yep. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go grab that clean plate, setting in and out on it. I'm only gonna grab the footage of it. I'm gonna put that on top. So if we watch it in real time, it's gonna look like a pop cut. Boink, they're gone, right? But what I'm going to do is I'm going to split screen this clean plate. So I'm going to grab crop and I'm going to slide it over so that it really only disappears Spider-Man. Soften that edge of hair, right? And now he just kind of pops, disappears. Boink. But if I then take a cross dissolve on it and have a nice long cross dissolve on Spider-Man, there he goes, right? And he fades away. And my characters, you know, they're in the same scene, so they can react to one another. They can, their timing will be perfect, all that good stuff. But I can have, you know, one character fade away. I could have, if I really wanted, instead of having Spider-Man dissolve out, let's just bring the opacity down of this layer the whole time, right? Let's have him be like half see-through the whole time. So it's like you could be talking to a ghost, right? Like right here, like you could just leave it and he just stays half see-through because that shot of the clean plate is kind of there the whole time. So you could have be talking to a ghost for a scene. You know, your brother, your sister, or someone could be a ghost version of themselves, or a vision, right? Maybe they're a memory that's kind of fading into existence in a space, right? You can see them. Oh, they used to sit right there and play Xbox with me, right, or something like that. So by using that clean plate, you can fade things in, fade things out, have things be half faded, only half the screen, right? This half of the screen with Iron Man is just straight up normal video. There's nothing going on there. I'm only adding that clean plate shot on top of Spider-Man, half of the scene, and I can create some pretty cool mix and match type effects, right? It's kind of a little bit of a pop cut. It's kind of a little bit of a split screen. We're kind of in between and creating something new that's really, really powerful and useful, right? So if I, you know, I have my wide shot of oops, that's the wrong view. This one, my wide shot of Tony and Spider-Man, and then I got the clean plate version, and I just cut it in half so that it's right. It's that, and I'm just kind of doing this to it, you know. And you can do all sorts of things. You could someone was saying, well, what if you like kind of cut it up a bunch, the clean plate, and then put like cross dissolves all on it, right? Like this, and then you put cross dissolves on it. It would like fade. He could like kind of be glitching. He could be popping in and out. If you got really, really fine with it, you could have him like kind of be staticky, glitchy. There's all sorts of things you can do with this effect, and it's really simple. You can do the same thing on the phone, right? So if we go and add our Spider-Man shot, there he is. Clip out the slate is step 1. There's Iron Man. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to where I get that clean plate right here and use my scissors, clip, and now it's 2 pieces. Now I can take the clean plate and slide that back this way towards everybody. There we go. And I can put the crop, so transform, crop left. There we go. And then I can add a effect of a dissolve, and then I can zoom in really tight, and then I can make that dissolve really big. And that way when we roll it.
You're all right. I don't want to go.
There we go. You guys like my Spider-Man voice? It's a pretty accurate representation.
You're all right. I don't want to go.
Perfect. Look at that. On a phone. The future is now, people. All right. So that's pretty simple stuff. I call that one like a ghost effect. We've got kind of our clone effect. We've got our ghost effect. And the last effect is a really, really simple one. I mean, it's way easier than the last two. It's just like a phone call. Usually when we think of split screens, we think of phone calls. That's kind of the most common use for them. I mean, obviously doubles and stuff, but that's not everywhere. We see phone calls everywhere. And so the beauty of doing a phone call is that you don't have to be on a tripod like you do with these other 2 effects, right? With a clone and a ghost, you got to be on a tripod because we don't have motion control rigs. But with a phone call, you have way more leeway. And so I have Calvin and Violet having a phone conversation. I just told them to talk because I figured it's more about the visual effect. If you are doing a phone call with someone, the best number 1 way to do this, like if we were at school and you really wanted to do a split screen phone call, I would suggest get 2 cameras, send your 2 actors to their 2 locations, have them really call each other on the phone and film it at the exact same time. And that is the number 1 solution to that by far. If you only have 1 camera, I still say have your actors call each other on the phone, have actor 1, on camera, have actor 2 be somewhere out of earshot, and have them actually do the phone call and try and basically have that same conversation 2 times. Once while you're filming actor A and once while you're filming actor B. They just need to do as good a job as they can to kind of recreate that conversation and the timing as much as possible. If you're trying to have a phone call with yourself, or if you don't have them, then they have to do the whole pause and do the timing in their head thing, which is really hard. So that's why I always say if you can have them actually be on the phone with each other, it makes life really, really easy. The thing with a phone call, if you're going to do a split screen when you're storyboarding, is to know ahead of time who's going to be where on the phone call. So if I know that I'm going to do a vertical split screen and I'm going to have Calvin be on the left of the phone call, then I need to make sure that he is kind of facing right? He's looking this way, right? And then if I'm going to have Violet on the right, she needs to be looking left, right? With her kind of longer hair. So I'm already ahead of time framing them on the side that they need to be on, and I have them looking the correct direction. So you can see this in Scott Pilgrim versus the World. Let's make this big, right? Anna Kendrick is looking right. She's on the left and she's looking right, and Michael Cera's on the right looking left. And they frame it that way before you even get started. So if we go and grab our shots of Calvin and Violet, you'll see here's Calvin. I framed him hard on the left side of the screen. looks, he's kind of, there we go, looking to the right, because we know that Violet is going to be on that other space. And then when I go and get Violet, I have her on the right looking left. And then all I have to do is grab that effect crop, drop that on her, and not that way, slide it on over, and my effect will work. You can get a little bit more fancy here if you want. You can actually do a little bit like do it. So if I do 52% for Violet, and I go to Calvin and I put a crop on him, and I do 52%, then I get this nice black line between them. Or if I did like 51%, make it a little bit less of a thick line. The other way you could do this, obviously, is if you just, oops, don't do that. Is if you don't crop it at all, you could just go in like in Photoshop or something, make a black line. I think you can actually do it in Premiere. It's been a while since I drew any shapes in Premiere. I'll have to look into that, but I don't think there is. But I would just, you could, maybe if you did like a title, or if you do the old style file, new, legacy title. It's the old way. Yeah, here we go. This is what I would do. And then I would get my box tool, and I would just drag a box. And that way I can make that line be whatever color I want. And then I would just slap that on top of them. There we go. And the nice thing with this is you don't even have to always think about left and right. You can, if you want, I got some different examples here. Let's get rid of this crop effect on here. Boom, boom. There we go. I framed one like with Violet's eyes. She was wiggling all over the place, so I did my best. But I did one with her kind of on the bottom, and so I went with the vertical. You can do the vertical split screen. There we go. See, I kind of framed Calvin in the middle at the top, Violet kind of in the middle on the bottom. So you got kind of a vertical split screen thing going on, which is kind of cool. Or you could do like this. This is if you want to get really fancy. So in Premiere, you're not limited to just up, down, left, right. You can design your own shapes. So if I go to opacity and grab this pen tool, I can draw a diagonal line, and kind of get like, in Pokemon, they always have these great split. There we go. Right. I can do a diagonal split screen between the two of them. And that way he's framed in the upper left and she's framed in the lower right. And I kind of have a split screen like that. You can really create a split screen any shape you want in Premiere by using this opacity mask tool. So I could come in here and I could create like a kind of this weird thing like this, right? I mean, I don't know why you would, but you could. Or I wonder if I could do this. Find Violet kind of in the middle, and we kind of. There we go, little heart split screen. Look at that. Some pro Bezier curve work right there. You saw that in some of the old school ones, right? If you have a character sitting in a chair and you just want to mask out just the shape of the chair, that way you can have a character walk behind the chair, and you can do that. But that's something that you can only do in Premiere. This kind of custom mask tool is only available. It's not available on the phone. But you can really start to get some super high-powered stuff by creating custom masks in the opacity. And you can see there's a circle, so you can click circle, and you can make a circle mask. That's kind of a funny image. Or square. A square, and then you can adjust that square to go wherever you need it to go. All sorts of wonky shapes and good stuff like that. If you're doing the phone call on a phone, it's super simple to do. Like we said, step one is just get the audio clean, make sure that their conversation makes sense, make sure that the timing is lined up, throw that one clip onto the top layer, line them up, get really, really tight, make sure they start at the exact same frame. You can see this one's just a little bit off. There we go. And then I'll just go to transform and crop left and come here, you. There it is. And I've got my little split screen phone call between my two characters. Um, as long as the timing's right and they kind of speak and pause, or if they're on the phone with each other and they do the same conversation 2 times at the same pace, or like I said, film. The dream is to just film them both, have 2 cameras rolling on both ends of that conversation, and life will be so much easier for you in that instance. Just before you film, you got to know who's going to be on what side and which direction they're going to face, and that goes back to the storyboard. It goes back to the storyboard so that you put them on the sides they're going to be on, and you can refer back. Oh, you need to be on the right edge looking this direction. Oh, you need to be over here looking up, or whatever the case may be. So you have a plan going forward when you go out to shoot. All right, so quick reiteration here. We're going to basically do 3 effects. We're going to do one where we have a clone of ourselves. You're going to have a quick conversation, 2 lines for each character of yourself. So 2 lines for character A and 2 lines for character B. You're going to do a clean plate hero plate. So you could be by yourself and you could take a drink of something and then set it down on the table across from you, and then when you bring your hand away, the drink could disappear. Or vice versa, you could say, boy, I'm really thirsty, and then this drink appears and you grab it and you drink it. Because the object is really there with you. You're just using that clean plate to make it appear that it's going to appear, disappear. Or it could be a person, right? If you want to do it with a separate person, you could be sitting there on the couch with your sister, be like, you're so annoying, snap, and she could fade out as long as you get that clean plate, right? So once you're done shooting that sequence, right, of your characters, you just let it roll, don't stop rolling, and get everything out of the scene, that's important, and let it roll for about 10 seconds. Nice, long, quiet, steady, just there it is, right? And you got your clean plate. So that's our second effect. And then our third effect is we're going to do a super simple. If you want to do, let's clean this one up and go back to you can do left, right, you can do top, bottom, you can do diagonal if you're on Premiere. You could put a line in it. You don't have to if you don't want to. And it could be between you and a second person. That's obviously a little easier than trying to do it all by yourself. If you're all by yourself, it's still very doable. Just have 2 lines for character A and 2 lines for character B. Get as creative as you can within 2 lines. And just practice the effect. We're going to work on our screenplays and storyboards in class, or work on whatever you want to work on in class on Thursday, and then whatever you don't finish in class is going to be your Monday work. And then at the end of Monday, the screenplay, the storyboard, and the final video will be turned in, so to show me that you've practiced split screens, and we'll use these as we go forward into our next project. We'll start using split screens in a project. All right. Let's stop the record.